Welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Once again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And I was just sitting here in awe, observing the moments of this life. Thank you. Sincerely, thank you. I just remembered yesterday's audio was pretty strong. I wanted to drop that back down a little bit. Hopefully that's a little easier than it was, at least when I listened to it. So blessings sincerely, all of you who have stopped in already and shared your love. And please, whether you're popping in now or later, share some love, help the algorithms. This is the world we live in. And if you want to be a part of this, let's do it. Let's become a part of what is happening. That's kind of what I want to bring into focus today, the topic. How to unite with focus rather than become divided by distractions. It's life, man. It's something else. So today I am going to, you know what, here, I'll go ahead and do that. I'll drop the link for those who are present, available, wanting to join. Feel free. I'm going to flow a little bit here for sure. Today, we can change the world Wednesday. Simple as that. Unity is our strength as people. When there's teamwork and collaboration, wonderful things can be achieved. And let's face it, there's plenty of evidence of those words. It's pretty obvious. And with the topic of changing the world and unity, considering that, what does it mean to be whole? Well, we'll get into this because the underlying topic today is relationships, but it's through thoughts and beliefs that we each find our unity or our division. But a small group of people united with the truth and a combined purpose, a small group of people can accomplish miraculous feats simply by joining together a common shared understanding, a shared purpose together. And today, I want to invite you to join me in this life adventure that's been created for us to learn from, to know, and to influence. We are all here. The world has become confused. I used to be very, very confused until I realized a lot of different things. And it is by the grace of God. I came to know God for myself through accepting the words that were found through Jesus and shown through his deeds. I got to know love as I got to know the love of God, the truth of God through the words of Jesus. I resisted it a lot. I said, no, can't be that way. That doesn't make any sense. Here's the realization I came to today. I was driving down the road, traveling. I was traveling down the road, enjoying the moment. And then I became aware of what I was doing. And I was enjoying the moment. There was no radio, there was no sound. It was just joy in being. And I realized what I was doing was I was genuinely in love. I was in a state of love in the present earlier, and I am now as well. See, love is a wholeness that's just, as I'm driving down the road, the realization came, what I was doing, I was sending loving thoughts to all those people who traveled by me. And then I was remembering back, I used to do that. I used to force myself to do that. I felt all alone, and I'm downtown trying to find somewhere, some way to be with people. And so I see people and strangers, and I was scared and alone, but I knew that I felt better offering prayers, blessings, prayers of health and blessings and love for the people I encountered. I knew I felt better doing that than focusing on my problems. And it wasn't easy. I had to force myself to do it. But today, that was my natural way of being. Driving down the road, offering prayers of love and blessings for the other people like me. Because that's what we are. We're all the same if you haven't figured that out. And yet there's a specialness and a uniqueness that is within every single one of us. It's just waiting to be discovered, waiting to be shown. It's the spirit of you. It's greater than you. It's with you. I'm a part of it. I'm a part of you, and you are a part of me. Because what we are, we're a part of this universal expression, this divine expression of love that was gifted to us by something far greater than what we know. But this entire universe, it's within God, God's order, God's control, God's perfection. You and I are a part of it. We're just little aspects of human consciousness with the awareness of life as a human being, whether you got the male or female genitalia. I mean, we're all the same, and yet we are so different because we're reflections and refractions, and we're all the same but different by varying degrees. It's all beautiful. We're all a divine expression of life that is experiencing this one time, this one moment here, right now, today, here on earth. We're a part of history. Time and life, those are eternal concepts. I align time and life from my personal perspective as God. I want to be as close and as intimate with life and time as I can. Because what I've come to realize in this present moment where you are and I am and everywhere else on the world, there's a peace and a stillness. It's natural to be peace and still. What is not natural is what mankind has created. Mankind through the enabling of poor choices, poor decisions. In the greatest picture, the world is the way that it is because good men and women were silent when they could have spoken. They didn't act when they could have. I was guilty of that a lot in my past, and I didn't realize it. Who I am today, brothers and sisters, I am just like you. I'm just a little bit different. I know who I am for sure. And if you can accept that we've got similarities and differences, but in the essence, who I am is a storyteller. I'm a narrator of the life that I'm living and the life that I have lived, and so are you. You're a storyteller. The stories we tell ourselves and each other, that becomes what we live with each other. And we live in a world full of refractions and reflections and manipulations and distortions. And we live like in a funhouse world experience of mirrors. Everything is contained within everything. If you look from a different perspective or enough perspectives, you can see everything in everything. And it can become overwhelming, this human life that we've been given. It can become a burden, a chore. There's a lot of pain and suffering in life, but there's also a balance towards pain and suffering. There's people who are not in pain and suffering who can help bring forth the healing. And I think the world has, I don't know what God's plans are for us. I only know what I've seen. I've seen love can be known in you because you and I are the same. We get to choose through the moments of our lives what we think, what we say, what we do. We get to choose what we allow and how long we allow things to linger within our experience to varying degrees. Some things are in our control, some things are not, but what is always in our control is our self-control, our ability, the option to exercise self-control, pushing past the insecurity, those who are afraid to forgive, those who are afraid to let go. The ability is there. The peace, it's worth knowing. The peace that is available for you to find through the act of surrender. Surrender to the truth that you know. See, there's greater forces involved in what is happening in this world. The forces of nature, there's so many forces involved in the world right now. But the foreseeable future of what is happening in the political and the economic and all of these different climates that mankind has created, they're not looking very good. I actually want to point out that today, brothers and sisters, there's a humanitarian crisis that is happening while we're talking comfortably here and now. And I know it can end. I know the wars and the oppression and the control of these governments And the brothers and sisters, the time we are living right now, it is the time that was prophesied in the Bible and in many other traditions. This is a time for the old to fade away. It's crumbling. Allow it. Embrace the old you to disappear. Allow yourself to crumble completely. Your egoic beliefs and your insecurities and your worries and your doubts. Let them go. You have the opportunity and ability to give yourself permission. Hopefully these ideas remind you, these words might remind you to give yourself permission to breathe in comfort, knowing that the spirit of comfort is with you just as easily as the spirit of aggression can be found. It depends on which we give more attention to. The spirit of depression, the spirit of shame, the spirit of guilt, all of these emotions are, you could say they are spirits because they are energetic bodies that we can identify, and they communicate within you. If you have created the practice of denying your emotions, you're literally driving yourself insane. There's no denying what is true to the heart. The heart speaks with power and with, it's beyond words. Love is beyond words. And you can know love when you let the labels fade away and just allow yourself to settle in and be right here and now, wherever you are, listening to the world and choosing when you participate. That's part of the life experience. I was considering this earlier. We do and we do not have a choice on who we involve our lives in, right? We can go out of our way to try and meet someone. We can also go out of our way to avoid someone. But those choices, you know, depends on what we allow ourselves to lead. But brothers and sisters, I lead me with my heart. For those, you know what, let me come back to today and share some of the Talcottian story. We'll interrupt and change directions for a minute. So for those who may have seen last night, I attempted a couple of live streams. It went poorly in my opinion. And I felt there wasn't a lot of value in what it was actually coming through. But it was a good practice for me. And the purpose was to offer some of the things I've been learning about meditation, which here, a new explanation came forth today. To meditate, become love. Figure out what that word means in your current moment and become love. However you have to do it, that's your answer to meditate. Because when you become love, you become whole. And when you're whole, you need nothing. You're filled and abundant, and you're grateful just for being. And as a matter of fact, when you're filled with love, you're ready to offer yourself to the world, like Jesus showed. That was the expression of love that was offered. God is here to serve you and me everything we need for life and adventure and love and joy and happiness and discovery and growth and education. God is there to provide us everything good. So, to align yourself with God and God's will for you, be present in the present, united with yourself, with the moment that you're in, focused and becoming attention, becoming a part of, connected to the life that you are living. And be willing to sacrifice everything for everything, because nothing is yours. It's for you to serve. Anything we receive, our purpose is here to share, to bring forth, to offer. That's the way life and nature is. God serves forth life and everything we need. And we were born into a world of selfishness. And the selfishness of mankind, it's led to these corrupted governments and corrupted economic systems. And hello, for the Bible thumpers, the beasts of rule that were talked about are being funded by obedient taxpayers. The beasts of rule are the imagined limits that the opposing forces of life convinced people to believe in. And the most powerful forces I see currently today from where I sit in Spokane, Washington, the most powerful forces that are limiting and opposing life and freedom right now, it's the structures of the American government and those who have become obedient to the propaganda that has created the billionaire class. The brainwashing and the marketing are true. Praise God. Praise God in all God's glory. God is so magnificent beyond our mind, beyond our knowing. Praise God for the creation of this life. There are so many patterns to be learned from and found. The stories of the creator of heaven vanishing and kicking out the warring angels. It's such a beautiful story. I think it's real. See, the warring mentality came into mankind somewhere along the ways. And through temptation and manipulation of facts, people learned how to create and manipulate human egos. That's what social media is founded on. These people are social engineers. This lifestyle today has been engineered, operated through the people alive. Holy cows. Praise God. See, God is the truth. God is the knower beyond the knowing. God is that which allows the truth to be discovered. What a gift of life. Brothers and sisters, we unite through a combined focus. And I invite you to join me in my focus, my practice, my religion of love. I practice uniting myself closer to love every day, every moment. It's the way we are here to live. And Jesus says, all these people claim to worship and follow Jesus, yet they're so confused. So many are so confused. We were born into a world of confusion. It was prophesized, it was predicted, and many churches and many pastors are creating a lot of false believers because the path The path that was shown through 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 the masters who I have learned from and I trust, the messages are the same throughout time. It's love. Love. It's up to you to figure out. It's up to you to identify. It's up to you to capture and share. Love can only be experienced as you while you are here. And the only thing that denies any of us from knowing the love that we can feel, it's where we spend our time and attention. See this right here, what's between your ears, my ears? That's the gateway between knowing and not knowing, understanding and confusion. The mind is God's gift. Become aware of the gifts that God has given you. And when I say God, the universe, time, life, the time and life that you have lived, you have come into today with some true gifts. The gifts of the mind, the gifts of your heart, those are powerful tools. And each of us have the choice. How do we wield our tools? Do we ignore them? Do we allow them to get toxic and corrupted? The path to know love, it's simple. It's so obvious. Accept the love who you are. Allow the love you can receive to flow through you. Find things to love. You get to choose. That's what I was inspired by earlier. Praise God. Oh, I forgot. I did the live streams last night. The meditation stuff, I wasn't real happy with that. Today, the missionaries, yesterday during the scheduled live stream, I was called away with missionaries at the door, and they returned again. Very nice and loving, patient young man, very, very bright. I don't feel like we connected, but we'll let the future decide. I'm going to share you know what? Yesterday, I received a sign that one should not pray out loud because the devils will hear and interfere with it. It's best to keep your prayers silent and within. Yet I see it another way. For I see that the spirit of love, the spirit of truth, the spirit of God, the spirit of Christ resides within all, you and me and everyone else. It's there until it's denied and refused. And we live in a confused world that practices denial. It enables denial. We've been denying ourselves a better world for a long time. I think my generation, if you're a part of me, I think we're the generation. Are we the X? I think I am. 73. We failed to fix what the others didn't. I think we let it get worse. And I think it's time for us to unite, brothers and sisters. I know you're like me. I know you want a better world too. I know that you're ready for the corrupted to be exposed. I know you're ready for the oppressors and the merciless to have a change of heart, to find some repentance from the punishment, and maybe we can create a world that serves life and love freely as God does. And are we not, is it not said that we were created in the image of a God? Well, what is a God? Well, God is obviously one who rules, one who is in control of the elements, the environment, the life. A God is sovereign, that's for sure. Are you or are you not a child of God? Back to driving down the road and the realization of my state of meditation as I'm traveling, and realizing the love and the difference between my past, where I used to have to force those prayers. And I'm not saying it was all the time. It was as often as I remembered I was. And then today I see it's what I care about. The difference between then and now is faith. I've learned how to surrender myself, my lack of control in the world, my lack of direct influence, exposure. I've had to accept a lot of failures in the past, and I've failed. I admit my failures. Dude, I'm proud of my failures. If I didn't try, I wouldn't have failed, and if I didn't fail, I wouldn't have learned new things. I might have gone a different direction. I'm very grateful to be here today and with you. Holy cows, man. I can't believe this is the life I'm living. Praise God. Praise God in all its glory. Please. God is with you. God is for you. If you can find that within you, that trust, then you can become you again. See, the adult population I see in the world today is suffering from unresolved trauma and patterns of, holy cows, man. It's up to every single one of us, regardless of the past, regardless of, I didn't have this as a child and they did this. I stop mocking. I mock myself. I'm not mocking you. I'm mocking myself. That's how I got over my judgment. I think I'm funny. I think I'm funny that I cried so much and I screamed and I got so angry. It feels good to be. It feels good to be present and whole and to know that you matter. Because you do. Every single one of us are here for a greater purpose. Maybe the purpose has or has not been discovered, but I encourage you, even if you think you found your purpose, let it grow. Grow your purpose. Your purpose is to unite, to become whole. We are all here to follow the way of love, to bring healing into ourselves, healing the mind, healing the spirit, healing the ancestors. We've come from a bunch of damaged and beat up peoples, man. Our parents, I think our parents may have had it worse than we did in many ways, and maybe our kids had it worse than we did. I don't know. I don't know if we're growing up or apart. What I do know, brothers and sisters, is that the prophecy is we unite. Let's overcome the divisions and focus on uniting. Unite with you in the present. Become whole as you. We've got a lot of broken people enabling broken people. A lot of codependency is going on all over the place, online, in these social media, in the mainstream media, in the politics, in the corporate structures. Praise God. Peace will be soon. I don't predict the future, but I know my goal, I know my purpose, and I invite you to join me. Let's change this world together. Join me in unity as a whole and complete individual. See, I was considering about my past experience in labor, right? Big corporation like the United States Postal Service. It's incredible. It really is. And I got to see many different levels and many different operations in the organization. I was blessed with the perspective I received. But one of the things I noticed is, as a union guy, even one of the problems in the workplace was the adversarial roles the two organizations took between the boss and the representative of the workers. It was two bosses butting heads most of the time, trying to tell each other what to do. And then you'd take it up even bigger into the corporate, into most business structures. And this is in my mind because of conversations I had earlier today. But the business structures, you've got all these different departments, HR and safety and operations and accounting and blah, blah, blah. So all of these different organizations have their own focus on what they're doing. And there's a purpose for that. It makes sense to have order and to have people responsible for different areas. I do hope to build a business, whatever it is, do something with this, with my investments, with Live Without Fear. I mean, while there is still whatever structure it emerges, whether it's a business or a nonprofit or a church or whatever, I want people to join. I want people whole in themselves to bring forth their unique talents, their unique gifts towards a combined purpose. And the combined purpose that I see forth, I want to bring forth, I believe is coming forth. A world where we know the wars have ended. We know that the rules are changing. We know the rules are changing because we're a part of bringing forth the new ways. It's what we've chosen. It's what we've chosen to do, to know and to live with love. For those who have learned of the Bible, the stories of Jesus, you carry within you the comparison. If you know the story, then you know the example. Now, the only thing that's lacking is the courage. Let me not forget this. It is by God's grace. I'm convinced of this. It is by God's grace that we get to know anything. You get to choose. You get to choose, right? The world and you chose what you learned and did up to here. I encourage you to grow to seek humility, to seek to grow in humility from your egoic worries and judgment and insecurities and all the shame and all that stuff, that the baggage. With humility, seek freedom from the baggage of the past so that you might know and experience the love of who you are today. And the whole teachings of Jesus, it can be summed up. Love one another. Find a reason. We all find reasons to hate. We all find reasons to be afraid. We find reasons to whatever. That's what we're here to do, is to find the reasons. We're here to discover and create life. Don't be afraid of you. You are love. You are me. You are everyone else you ever meet. You are the universe, experiencing the consciousness of a human being. And I've come to trust and believe that, the return of Jesus would bring peace to the world. And if there was peace here on earth, oh my God, wouldn't it be heavenly? I mean, if you could travel freely wherever you wanted, however you wanted, knowing that along the way and when you arrived, you'd be with others who care about your joy, your happiness, your excitement, your development. We can all care about each other. We don't have to imagine or create distractions and division between us. The way to become whole is to become present. It's to become natural. It's natural for you to be present. It's not natural to go around in states of confusion, denying emotions, holding ourselves back from what's right and what's true. I had some thoughts on my days on drinking earlier. Trying to remember what those were. Has to do with when we're not honest. When we're not honest with ourselves, we will lead ourselves so wrong. Before I get into the drinking, well, it's tied to the drinking. I also had a memory earlier today about different periods of my life where it's like I woke up. I woke up to being present and I became aware of where I was at that point in my life. It happened once or twice in the 2 enlistments in the Army. It's like I woke up and I was like, what in the fuck am I doing here? How the hell did I get here? Why am I here? And then I had to realize, oh, yeah, it was the choices you made, dummy. Well, I thought I learned. I learned what choices not to make, I think, but I never learned what choices to make. I was taught to obey. I picked up a few bad habits along the way that I'd told myself to obey. Along the way, somewhere, though, I convinced myself that I loved to drink. My heart accepted that because when I drank, shut my mind off a little bit and I wasn't so caught up in the world. So yeah, my heart honestly knew I wanted to drink. And for a long time, I didn't want to drink in the day, but eventually I wanted to drink in the day. And then when I denied myself what I wanted in the day, I felt miserable in the day. And boy, I drank and I made up for it at night. Don't lie to your heart. Figure out what your heart is telling you through the patterns of life you are living. If you don't learn to focus your mind with your heart, the world we live in literally profits from attention seeking, right? It's wanting to capture your attention for the purposes of profits, control, manipulation, and influence. I guess to some degree you can say I'm guilty of that. But it's not for me. See, I know that God has given me everything. I'm willing to give everything away for the greater world to be. If I could find a way to end wars today, I would. I mean, I have the idea that we can. I believe by the grace of God, we will. We will soon end wars here on earth, at least many of the unnecessary and violent conflicts. And then we'll create a safe space where other people will be able to go in and bring some true help to those people who are suffering right now. I pray for mercy. I pray for the day of God's judgment, where the truth will no longer be denied, where it will be exposed and shared freely. Because honest men and women, they do. Do you share the truth honestly and freely? Or are you free with what you think and believe? Because, see, it's through our thoughts and our beliefs that mankind has created the beasts of rule that obedient employees today, right now. While we're tuned in here, there's wars going on in Palestine and Sudan and Ukraine and there's so many wars going on. Mexico, Brazil, I think Guatemala, perhaps. There's also men and women just like you and me today. They're playing this game of politics in Congress. See, and the people in Congress, there's like, as I understand, there's about 600 Americans in the top levels of the American government. And I haven't met them. I haven't met many of them. But today, the members of Congress and the United States government, they've convinced themselves, those human beings like you and me, they've convinced themselves that they can't bring peace to the world. They can't change. They've got to obey. They got to obey what they said. And they gave their commitment to the lobbyists, and those lobbyists paid damn good money for their loyalty. Let's not forget who put them in office. It wasn't those foolish citizens out there. It was the corporations. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Anyone want to join? You're welcome to. I'm feeling good, but if people don't join, I think an hour may be a good time to wrap up. You're accurate, Bryce Peer. You read me correctly. I believe that who I am, God has allowed me to devote myself to trying to become holy. So let's talk about, and wise. I've certainly been foolish. I've certainly been ignorant. I've learned, and I admit freely my foolishness and my ignorance. So if you don't hear the wisdom that's found in a humble and honest testimony, well, your mind is clouded, my brother, I assume. Now, what is a holy man? That's something I have spent time thinking about. It's actually pretty simple, and most people who have looked into the Bible, they know the definitions. Holy is set apart. Set apart is a little different. It's a little unique. It's a little bit special. It's also united with the essence, the trueness of God. Well, what is God but wisdom and love, power? So a holy man is one who would, align with the loving answers that the truth might bring forth. It's really as simple as that. You too can become holy. We become whole when we remove the corruption from within. It's not hard to be whole. It feels better than being fractured and confused. Welcome, Easy.
What's up, brother? How's everything going with you, man? How's the weather where you're at right now?
It's amazing. It's beautiful. Got up to 70 degrees, and I believe we're supposed to hit the 80s by the weekend.
Well, I'm a northern latitude as well. I think we hit like 85 or something today, man. Real humid. But yeah.
That's fabulous.
What do you? Go ahead.
Well, no, please.
I was curious about your surroundings as far as like places that you think are beautiful, like state, or anything that you've visited like this. Just
Your audio is.
Oh shit.
Your audio sucks.
I was just asking if, like, about your surroundings, the nature and stuff around you. Have you been to some places that, like, if I was to go out to Washington, like, would you recommend, a certain nature place or anything?
Are you coming out to Washington? Are you seeking recommendations? Or, well, I'm trying to understand what you're doing.
I was just curious about, like, what you would recommend from your area. You said you've been there for so long. Yeah, man, I go a lot of places, and if I go out to Washington, if I'm asking the question, I sincerely want to remember the answer. I know that isn't how everybody operates, but I think that's where a lot of confusion sets in for people. Because I've been to what's that mountain? That big one in Washington?
Rainier?
Yeah, I've been there. And Salem, I've been there too. Right, Salem?
Possibly. There's a Salem, Oregon, maybe, and I think in Oregon, well, I can't remember if Mount Hood is Washington or Oregon.
Wait, Mount Hood. That's what it was. It was Hood. Hood's in Washington.
Thank you.
Wait, that's in Oregon. But it's right there on the border.
Here, it's funny, 2018, the year my life was changing, man. I didn't know what was going on, but I was having a blast. For a little while, I took on a roommate here in this house. He was an old friend, moved to Colorado, and then he moved back here to become a professor or to be a professor here. And hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well,
Eric,
yeah. You were saying he's a professor. I was just curious, what?
Something to do with the mind.
Oh.
If I remember right, he was studying, trying to study how our mind knows when we're full and hungry. So he's a brilliant man. I don't know. I've been living a bizarre life. Anyway, for a while he was here. He also happened to get his pilot's license. And so he and a buddy were taking a flight, and they invited me along anyway. So I got to go with a couple of pilots when we flew around Mount Rainier. It's just such a gorgeous, beautiful day too. I got photos on my Facebook from there, but we flew somewhere and had lunch and then flew back. And I was like, what a life. Sorry, but as far as where to go, brother, everyone has their own opinions. What I was really kind of I was kind of trying to point at related to the topic, right? Related to what I'm doing. Because we have the opportunity to unite in the present.
Mm. It feels
But
good to just hear that, even.
it's what I've come to accept. And that's the key, actually. Peace and connection is available as long as we don't imagine resistance and reasons not to know peace or connection.
Yeah.
And if we can identify the similarities between us,
100%.
we
Dude,
can.
my father grew up in Tacoma, bro. Like, I have family in Tacoma. Like, you don't know this. I may have had them spying on you for the last 2 weeks. I'm just kidding. You know I was just kidding there. You know that was a joke. Yeah, man. Who knows, man? Because I gave you that. I tried to say to you the one day about. But yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What was the topic? Let's just go with what that was.
Unite through focus
Oh.
or divide through distraction. And the thumbnail was about uniting together. But where I started the stream was really about uniting ourselves with love as who we are, where we are. And if we can unite ourself, love into our own personal experience, well, we can start uniting with others in healthy ways. And here, if we can unite together today, if people are willing to join my team and collaborate with me, I believe the investments of that,
Everything, yeah.
they're ready to go big because I believe God has been preparing me. Hey, I said this yesterday and it's true. All of the past has been preparation for today.
Man, you're not wrong. I said something like that one time to this one person. Same thing. I was like, yeah, like I wish I would do this, or I wish I would do that, or something. And they were like, you are who you thought you were. You know what I mean? Like, they were like, you are right now. And I'm like, you know how that goes.
I brought that up earlier. We're all the same and yet different. Who I am a storyteller. Everyone else is too. The
I'll tell
story.
you. Yeah, the people from like my dad's from Washington State, man. So I could tell you what you guys can definitely tell a story without a doubt. And in fact, you're one of the best at it, actually.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man. Like I said, my dad's from like your area. He tells stories, very similar to you. Maybe that's why I try to butt heads with you, so much. But dude, I give him a lot of fucking shit, and I can't believe he can take it. And I've given you shit, and honestly, I can't even believe you took it. Like, you guys are storytellers who don't, who just do what you want to do, and very, very hard to break that storytelling. I've had a lot of experience, uh, listening to storytellers.
You've
So
had some good examples then.
yeah,
Because
I mean, you're one of them. Even you've taught me different ways that people may think that I never realized that people may have even thought, in that certain way. So it's taught me to be a better communicator, keeping that in mind.
thank you. I appreciate that. I feel I have been blessed with this experience. I know my blessings. I thank you. I hope to help. I do hope to help and share what I've learned because this world, man, this world is confusing. It's nuts, as a matter of fact. Hey, we got another guest here, and I believe a friend. Welcome, Chuck. How you
Hey,
doing?
Jack.
Not
All
kidding.
right. I was just going to say, I try to do what I can for my community. And every year they have a local little mom and pop restaurant. They have a drive for kids' toys for Christmas. And I usually save up all year, try to give them some presents to give to the kids that have nothing because we live in a depressed area. And then the grocery store, the little mom and pop grocery store that I shop at, they have a big basket or box for food for the needy. So everybody always picks up extra, not just me, the whole community. We pick up extra and put in that box, and they allow anyone to come get it. There's no questions, there's no ID, there's nothing. And I think that's pretty neat for trying to take care of people on the local level.
How long have you been doing this, Chuck? Since
Jack.
the 1800s?
No, I moved
So
down here,
so
what, four
Jack,
years
I
ago after
figured
I
I'd come
lost
up
my
here
house.
and see what's going on with you because these guys seem to not care what you're talking about today.
I'm talking about uniting the community, Moose.
I apologize. I might be in my confusion, but I came up because I thought that Lanza didn't really want to hear what he was saying, and so I don't
No,
know.
I came up in peace. I didn't come up to battle.
No, I'm not talking about you. I said Lanza. Okay, so Chuck, if you got a
Oh,
guilty conscience,
oh yeah. Well, I thought you
what's
said
Lanza,
them
what's happening?
guys. I'm
What's going
sorry.
on today? How's everybody doing?
truly feeling
I,
blessed.
Hey, I just wanted to let you know I said a couple jokes about you today over on Gen X Jeff. Um, it was not meant in any harm or ill taste or whatever, but I figured if you were watching or whatever, I'd let you know anyways.
I appreciate it. No, I had an interesting morning, and well, I'm prayerful today. I know today the date has a significance for me and a man who I really love and admire. It's his birthday. He's one of my best friends to me. And I know that it's possible for him to have a change in heart on a day like that. So I took us way off.
Are you talking about your son's birthday?
Um, one of my best friends. His name's Sean. There was Sean and Marty. After high school, they did their thing, but I went off in the military, and they actually lived together. Sean bought a house, and Marty rented with him, and we became like brothers. We're friends for over 30 years.
what happened? They moved.
No, he lives less than 2 miles from me. He
Oh,
he stopped speaking to me and pushed me away, just like my son and everyone else has. I don't know what to do.
the 2018 time period. 2018 time period.
Yeah.
Is that when he pushed you
I,
away?
I yelled at him, and then I don't know
Uh
what
oh.
happened. He said that, well, I don't know exactly the conversations. After my son refused to spend time with me, well, this was Uncle Sean. It was a man that had been in my son's life, and Sean knows the character of my son. And so I guess he got disappointed in me just like my son did. And so they wouldn't face me anymore. And well, here, this is a question that I keep getting asked.
What I was kind of curious about too. Sorry, Jack.
Well, it is true. I did become different, and people didn't understand the new me, and then they didn't even stop to try. They wanted to argue and fight me and tell me how wrong I was. And so
About your major plan or local things?
about everything that was happening to me, I was blamed for I was blamed for what my ex-wife thought. I was blamed for what my son did. I was blamed for what the postal service did. I was blamed for what the union reps chose to do. I was blamed. I've accepted it all. I want to move forward. I called my friend and I left him a voice. I left both Sean and Marty voicemails today, but I call them and I know my numbers are blocked. So I don't know if they received the messages, but I called them, wished happy birthday.
Did you become real religious in 2018 or spiritual?
I didn't go to the Bible until near the end of until later in my development. And by then, most people had already pushed me away.
Oh, okay. Because I know after I turned my life around, I had to be careful on what subjects I talked about and how passionate I was, because they didn't want to hear the good news.
You know, Chuck, it's funny though. Today when the LDS missionaries were here.
Oh my God. Go ahead.
Well, they kept telling me that they kept telling me how their church has a prophet, and so I asked them questions about that because I keep getting told, right, when I explain my story that I came online because Spokane has rejected me. Well, the answer I often get from those who study the Bible is, yeah, a prophet's rejected from his hometown. Well, am I a prophet? Is that a possibility? Because if that's a possibility, well, I ask for these LDS. Can I speak to people? Is there church elders that I can talk to? Is there a way to communicate with your prophet? What is your prophet leading the church? These were the questions I was asking, and I actually think the church is being misled. So I still don't know. Is it possible is it possible I'm not as bad as people want me to believe?
Well, I know my ego tells if I don't pay attention to it and let it get away from me, my ego will tell me I'm better than what I am, and I become an asshole. That's what I used to do when I was drinking.
I've seen it.
It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect, I believe.
I don't know nothing about that, but
and so, anyways, you didn't answer the right question, Jack. You're not bad. You're different. You've changed. You've grown. You've changed into a different version of you. So you have to leave some people behind, I guess.
As I said,
sorry, go.
As I said earlier, I observed the reality. We each do and do not get to choose who we involve in our lives. We can choose to interact with someone. We can choose to ignore someone, avoid them. We can choose to share kindness. We can choose to share whatever we want. This life is amazing. Welcome.
Greetings, everybody.
Hey, brother, how you doing, man? It's been a long time, Wiz.
I am well. Yourself?
I'm doing well, brother. It's good to hear from you.
You know, Jack, it's one of those things, despite that record that you got, I understand it very well. Like you said, everybody wants to blame Jack. Everybody in Jack's life wants to blame Jack. Now, I'm not giving this as an excuse to you, Jack, but I see it myself in my own life. I see it myself in everybody else's lives when we sit there and point the damn finger at somebody else because we don't like criticism ourselves. This is the imperative of learning how to be self-accountable. And that means looking in the mirror at the end of the day and judging yourself despite anybody else's judgment. Okay? This is the ultimate responsibility we all have as an obligation, not only to ourselves, but to others, so we don't turn around and point our finger at them and blame them. This is the thing about self-governing. It's time to stop blaming people for anything. We're all at fault. And when we start pointing the finger out at somebody else for their faults, it's basically saying that we're not at fault. The fuck we aren't. Excuse my expression, my passion here, guys.
Hey,
But we're all full-grown adults. It's time to start fucking acting like it.
You're on point. You're on point.
amen. I agree. And here, I also want to remind, because what you said is absolutely true. It really matters what we do when no one else is around. It really matters what we do when we think no one is looking, because the truth is always there. And what I found in myself, the best way to look at myself in the eyes at the end of the day and be grateful for the man I saw, was to spend my day paying attention. Thoughts on God, thoughts on love. What does love and God want me to do today? And as long as I try, I think that's all God asks, is that we try. We try to be better. We try and we believe that we can. That's the key. We've got to believe we can be better, and we will. I found that in myself. I want to share that idea. Because if we do this together, if we grow together, grateful for God and life in itself, we can love God deeply, love each other. And then with that, it'll be so easy because we won't be all alone with each other. We'll be united together with the common purpose of sharing more joy, more love, more light.
Jack, that's where Wiz was saying it comes in when you take full accountability for everything.
Yes, that's follow Jesus. Follow Jesus and see your part. You are connected to this entire world. Accept that. Accept the wars are your fault. Accept the problems are your fault. The suffering is your fault. Jesus did.
No.
No. I'm gonna correct you there. I don't think Jesus accepted things as his fault. I think Jesus accepted the conditions as they are. And this is what I talk about with my companion. My companion is 10 years older than me. Now, she's got certain health problems. I'm no doctor. I'm no registered nurse. I'm none of those things. But my obligation to my companion encompasses those. When she's old, decrepit, and can't wipe her own ass, guess who's going to be the one to wipe that? Me. That's not a fault. That's an honor. I don't care how you look at it. I raised children, and it was an honor for me to wipe their ass.
Amen.
I think people are looking at it wrong. I yield.
Hey,
yes, as long as evil
you.
is in the world, we have to do the next right thing. Even though we didn't think we signed up for it, we know what the next right thing is. You know, like Wizard, I made a commitment to my family. I'm honoring my commitment. And I do what I have to do, not because it's a chore or because I have to. You know, what's wrong with these people? Why can't they do it themselves? It's because I get the privilege of helping them.
That's the key. And El Perro, you were right in that correction to a great degree. But I spent a lot of my life believing that I couldn't do anything. I convinced myself I couldn't do a lot of things in the past. And then guess what? I proved myself that I could. And I encourage you, whoever you are, if you've convinced yourself you couldn't do something greater, reevaluate the choices. Because the choices of the past brought us to where we are. And we can be grateful for where we are, because today starts the rest of our lives. We don't have to
Amen.
live the same way, right?
I remember my house burnt down and it was on fire in the kitchen and we was in the bedrooms. And back then I could hardly walk because I still had back problems. And my wife says she smelled something burning. And I drug myself into the kitchen and seen it was already too far gone. And I hollered to get out. They thought I was kidding. And I told my son, I said, grab a hold of the back of my pants. All I had on was a pair of jeans. I said, grab my back of my pants and whatever you do, don't let go because he has autism. I get out the front door finally because the smoke's like 3 feet thick, black at the top. I get outside, I turn around and he's not there. I had to go back in and get him because he seen the fire and the smoke and he panicked. He froze. I finally got him outside. And this was in the winter time. Me and him got out with a pair of blue jeans on. The wife managed to get out before us. And it was strange just to watch everything you had go up in flames. But I thank God. I thank God the three of us were able to get out alive. Because material things can be replaced. Human flesh cannot. And I learned a long time ago too, when it come to my friends or former acquaintances, after I sobered up, had a spiritual experience and whatnot, I found that if I tried to force myself upon them, they turned on me. So I had to learn to regulate how I interacted with them. There's a few that no matter what I did, completely turned their back on me. And I couldn't do anything about it. I just had to accept it.
So, Jack, I'm reading the comments down there, and I see head motherfucker in charge of Steve says, thanking the same God that took everything from you. Oh, man.
What was that, Moose?
He, he said that Jack is thanking the same God that took everything from Jack. And I
He
would have
didn't,
to say
he,
that
yeah.
I
That
would
was
have to
Chuck's
say that the
story.
circumstances we go through are not necessarily the fault of the creator, but they're it just is what it is. Like I wouldn't if you're not like the whole point is to take accountability for everything. Like why would you blame someone else for your problems? Like
Amen.
just
Well,
because we believe there's a creator does not believe that he determines every single thing that we do and every single outcome of every single event, right?
there are two players in this game, folks. God and Satan. It wasn't God that took everything, it was Satan that took everything from Job.
Yeah.
Again,
But in
it's a matter of who are we blaming, who are we putting at fault? Are we putting God at fault or Satan, ourselves, whatever? What is it that we're actually doing?
hey, El Perro, absolutely. I paused for a moment there because I wanted to consider, but what I believe the future, I believe what the story and the facts show. Well, it even says God does the good, light and the dark. It does the good and the evil. Satan has no purpose other than what God might allow. And I believe God allows freedom of choice, yet feeds and allows the ideas to come forth. So those who are corrupted lack imagination, and without imagination, it's hard to understand. So the devil, so to say, it uses manipulation and distraction, distortions, turning what is good into dark, what is dark into good, and hello, we have America. And so the game, I believe, is a game of trust, that God created us in this form with the image of what we could become, then even graced us with divine, perfect examples to learn from in the form that we are, so that we could all learn the power, the glory of our Father. It is all things are being done through and with God. We can accept that. And so then, if we can accept that God is with and through all things, then we can find our part. What part do we want to play in this game where God allows us free will? We're all storytellers. The stories we've learned from, including in the Bible and elsewhere, the stories are what we are. We're storytellers, living the story of our lives. The stories we tell ourselves create who we become. The stories we tell each other become what the world becomes. Together, those of the past told these stories together, that God was in some far off place, and you could only know God if you followed this tradition and you follow my set of rules, my dogmas. That's the only path you can get to know peace. The world lied to us. Let's figure it out together. And we can when we unite. When we unite with our hearts in the present moment of life with love, man, there's
All right,
nothing.
Can
Jack,
I?
that's
Can,
you're losing me here with all this. Like
can,
you're talking all these words. Like we've already determined the solution to everything. Now we need to determine what we're gonna do, where we're gonna go, who we're gonna talk to, who are we gonna get next on the show. Like who are we gonna get you in contact with next? Like let's get to the next level. I mean, you've
can
had
I?
hundreds of people watching you here. You've been on all kinds of different various panels and shows. I mean, you know who you are. You've got a person that makes entire clips about you, uh, almost like movies. I mean, dude, it's like, what's the next step? Like, who are we getting you in contact with?
Can, can I ask a question? I'm going to throw an analogy
I
out
mean,
there
you're
and
gonna ask anyways, so why not?
tell. Okay, well, tell me if I'm wrong. If I light a match and I throw it on the ground, I can quickly stomp on it and put that flame out. If I throw empty 5 gallons of gas on the ground and light it, it's a much bigger battle. My point being, or if you take a fueling station and set it on fire, you got a huge fire. How do we expect? We'll put Spokane as the 5 gallon can of gas. If we can't put that fire out, how can we put the government, which is the gas station, out? Is what I'm trying to figure out along the way.
I I'd rather come back to Moose's question, because
Yeah, like
your imagined hypothetical of gas and fire, Chuck, is irrelevant.
I mean, goddamn, he's making up a video game in his head right here. Like, where I'm over here talking about like, who are we talking to next? Like, who are we getting in contact with next? I want to see you talk to somebody. You know?
Thank
Well,
you.
so am I, Moose. If he can't, if Spokane won't listen to him, what makes you think the next level up is going to listen to him? Is what, if the community won't listen to him,
Hey
why
Chuck,
would the
do you think
nation
hey Chuck,
listen?
Chuck, do you think you're helping
I'm
right now?
asking for clarity.
Chuck, I'm not asking what you're doing. I see what you're doing. I'm asking you, in your heart of hearts, do you think you are helping right now? Or are you becoming a distraction?
You know what?
Well, I'm,
I think he's asking if you have come to the point where you can articulate yourself well enough to be on the
Thank you,
next level.
Moose.
I think that's what it is.
You guys get to decide.
Not
You
us.
are,
It's you. You're
well,
the one
no,
that's gonna
here,
talk to these
let
people.
me, please, let me explain myself. You get to decide what you believe I'm capable of doing. I'd hope you can trust that I'm capable of communicating effectively and that my goal is to do what you said, Moose. I would love to find out, is there a greater platform? Can I create a connection with greater audiences? Where can I turn? I keep knocking on doors and sending emails, sending messages on my own. But here, the real question, tied to what Chuck said, let's find out if we can. Can we find someone in Spokane that's willing to work with me? Welcome, Steve.
What's going on, Jack?
Hey, what's up, Steve? No
What's up, guys?
disrespect to you out there. I was just trying to bring up a good question because you said a great question.
Well, that's the only kind I have. They're all good questions. Kind of like Chuck talking about how God was there to save his life, his wife, and then in the same turn, you know, gets his house destroyed. You know, I've learned from all these panels and chats that God is everywhere all the time, everywhere. We're all God. Everything's God. So I just don't understand why it makes you feel like something great happened when you did it yourself. He ran back in there. He saved his family.
But I thank God that I was able to, is all I did.
I
I
know, and that's
didn't
my question,
blame or
Chuck.
anything.
Is you thank God. What are you thanking him for? What did he do?
You
Allowed me
out.
the energy to crawl back in there and get my son out.
You don't think that was all you? Because I have my son here. He's been watching for a long time in the background, paying attention, learning shit. He's only 17. So there's
I'll,
questions of faith.
hey, I'll be
Seems to
honest.
start off.
I thank God every time I ride home and I get home safely because that shit's scary out there. Driver's not paying attention. Yesterday I saw this girl. She was doing her hair and she was driving with her knees, and she came in oncoming traffic. That was kind of scary. You know, it's one of those things that like I got to be honest, man. I look up and I'm like, fuck, thank you for letting me get home safely. Why? I don't know. I just because I feel like it. I guess I feel inspired. I can't tell you it works. You know, I just it's for me. You know.
For me, it's the concept of God. It's not a physical God, it's a concept of God. And the concept of God is based in knowledge. Now, that knowledge isn't all in me. I have to depend upon other people, like I explained earlier. If I'm going to be taking on these duties with taking care of my companion, I have to learn some nursing skills, things like that. So it's the knowledge. It's the same thing with Chuck. If I was in that situation, it's not that I'm actually praising God. I'm actually praising the knowledge and the fact that I have access to it so that I know what to do in that situation. Without that, I would very well be likely screwed, just like anybody else. So again, for me, the true benefit is knowledge, and that is the God in my life. The ability to be able to look at things in a perspective to see how what I'm going through may apply to other people. So if I'm in a fire, I know other people have been through a fire. What did they do? What's the objective truth there of what to do? Do you cover yourself with a wetted down blanket and try to get out? Do you seal yourself into a room that you hope will like a bathroom where there's a shower so you can turn the water on and keep wet while the fire is raging around you? There are many different things that we come to know through knowledge. And it's a matter of being able to use those because we have access to it. And that's it.
I got a good one. It's if but you or somebody you know is ever experiencing a cardiac issue, we'll say it like that.
Your audio sucks.
Your audio sucks.
Fuck off, board.
I actually
I'm
to come back to
calling
what
from the
Wizard,
I'm calling.
to come back to what Wizard was saying. Browns boy, you've got a bad track record here, brother. You lack You lack attention. I don't know what it is, but you can become whole when you're present, and you can be present when you're not moved to interrupt. What Wizard was talking about is the realization, the acceptance that there is knowledge to be found. There's value to be found from the knowledge that we can learn from each other. And at the same time, there's a connection, a spiritual connection through our mind into a greater source of intelligence. Some people call it the Akashic Records. Some people call it, well, there's all sorts of names and things for the mysteries and the concepts. And here, consider this, please consider this in line with what Wizard said about God as a concept, a man or a woman. We have a concept of what a man or a woman is. We have a concept of who we are. We don't really know. All we know is what we experience. I've learned how to experience love every single day, despite the state of the world, despite my conditions and the opinions of people who rejected me. I am filled with love. Steve, how can you be grateful to the God that takes everything and is moving everything in such an ugly way?
Well, my question is this is my youngest about to go ride his little street bike here. We had to get him a helmet because he clocked himself doing almost 50 in it. So
Nice.
because he can't help himself, he's got to just wing it every time he goes. So we were talking about this. You know,
Hey,
God
what's he
is
riding?
looking
Sorry.
over him when he's hauling ass down these streets with these crazy peoples on the road. But is God gonna be there to stop something bad from happening, or is God only does good?
Has
So that's
God
my
ever?
question.
I mean, what's God's track record?
He kills a lot of people.
He does kill a lot.
So God be
Hey,
with you,
what's he riding,
Godspeed.
Steve?
It's a old Coleman mini bike. We just put a Predator 212 in it. We took his torque converter and put a torque converter on it, so this thing will practically do wheelies. It's pretty quick. He did it himself. He paid for it himself because he mows lawns, takes care of his shit. I got a new job. He's got a new job, so
Get yourself a coat, brother. Get yourself a
nope.
coat. Don't be riding out there with a t-shirt. 50 miles an hour, you're gonna be beef jerky.
Not if God has anything to do with it, right, fellas?
Well, hey, we
Put a girl in front, put a girl in back, and then that'll keep you safe.
I'm
I've
just saying,
learned,
man, you want to be
That's
riding
what
when
the
you're
racks are for.
75. So wear all your protective gear.
hey, I've learned not to underestimate and not to try and look too far in the future. So the important thing is share love before you ride, be wise as you move, and pay attention to what is being brought forth for you to see. Don't be foolish. Trust in you, but don't be crazy, man.
And don't
And
talk to the cops.
and when
Nice
it comes
helmet.
and when it comes to the girl in the back and the girl in the front, don't be afraid to have a robust girl. That's a better bumper.
No. You're better than that.
No, there's no shocks on this thing, so.
Yeah.
You hit a pothole, you're done.
So you got anything to say, Jack?
I got nothing to say.
All right. Well, be safe out there. I love you.
Yeah, love you.
Absolutely. Hey, that's pretty cool, man. Dad and son, that is an important relationship. And if you guys unite, man,
Get that boy a Honda Navi. I swear to God, Steve, that boy, that he will be so stoked. It's 110cc, goes 50 miles an hour, rides like a motorcycle.
Moose got a moped
got
if you
some
can't
soft ball.
tell.
It's awesome, bro. Next thing you know, I'm gonna have a Honda Rebel and I'm gonna give my wife this, but I gotta start my wife off on something easy and myself.
I never learned how to ride dirt bikes. I tried, but when I tried, I was kind of out of shape and nervous and afraid. I was confused when I tried. I look forward to trying new things now that I'm not so confused, and I don't know.
I got a practical tip.
Please share.
Jack, let's go bungee, or not bungee jumping. Let's go skydiving.
I've never been called to do that either. I don't like heights, to be honest.
My ex-wife and I got rained out when we had it scheduled, and then we never rescheduled it. So it looks like you and me, Jack.
All right. I'll say yes to life. From now on, that's
Praise God.
Well, not
I will. If you make it, I will do that. If you make it to Kansas City, I'm 100% down.
If you guys do it, I'll do it. And I don't want to do it, but if you guys do it, I actually might do it. But I say that because I don't think you'll actually do it.
I don't think we will either, just because of geography. But if we're in the same, now you all hear it. If we're in the same place in the future geographically, somebody better hold us to doing the skydiving thing.
Yeah, either that or give me like $5,000.
Your first jump has to be with a partner, right? So Jack and I will have to like cling to each other and scream as we fall.
All right.
No, it'll be with a trained partner.
I was accused, and I'm not hurt, but I was accused of like not understanding what direction or something earlier. But I was also accused of not having a good mic and not being able to be heard. So I'm confused about how you didn't hear me. But anyway, now I'd like to say that one tip I did find from somebody who went to medical school. They asked me, what's the first thing you do if you think you're experiencing a heart attack or something? And I go, I don't know, tell me. He goes, you want to induce as much coughing as possible. You want to induce coughing because it gets a lot of oxygen into your blood. And then you want to actually drink a carbonated beverage. So that's just one little tip. People, because what it can do is it'll buy you a ton of time. And if you ever go out during a position like that, you like when they go to revive you and stuff, like they can easily break your ribs. So you don't want that to happen. So you can avoid that as well. And I saw a 90-year-old guy survive from that. So I'm sorry I was accused. I apologize for being accused of not having any good tips or whatever the hell, something bad track record.
An amazingly useful
whatever imagined disagreements were abundant before. I do apologize for any listener who had to sit through those erroneous.
Look at Jack's face; he's still imagining them.
I'm just puzzled by the lack of care. First of all,
here's how you saved your loved ones during a time of need. Lack of care. Okay.
You don't care to yield after I patiently.
You were talking about going skydiving, and you were lying about you wanted to go. So I brought a real tip to how to save your loved one's life. So which one's more important?
As I've been trying to say since you've been blabbering your mouth, this is not medical advice that's being shared from this stream. There is no medical professional. Please follow your own purpose. Trust in what you know to be true. Consider what you hear.
You know that Stabbing Westward song?
Let the man.
I cannot save you. I can't even. Yeah, that's what just popped in my head after he gave that life-saving tip and then was obviously about to get axed off the panel.
Thankfully, he chose to leave on his own accord. And his arrogant.
You were giving him the slow out, weren't you? Putting the Talcott squeeze on him.
I mean, I saw the shoulder cock back.
I'm working on my patience. I really am. But at the same time, I have grown in my confidence and my self-respect, and I don't need this nonsense, man. I mean, he comes up and offers his false apologies. I'm sorry about your confusion, blah, 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 blah. He repeats his stupid behavior.
Just tell him to shut the fuck up.
He doesn't listen. I've tried. And so, you know what? I don't control anyone else. I do at least get to decide when I walk away and when I part ways with others, push them away.
That's taking accountability for the situation, Jack.
That's what I'm working on doing, honestly. I mean, I appreciate you guys. I really do. We've had some chaos streams and stupid
Who do you
arguments.
appreciate? Rank us from most to least appreciated on the panel.
No.
Chuck, stay where you're at. You're the last.
I'm the most useful. Flo.
Moose, you're
probably the
just
best
barely in
looking.
front of Chuck.
Steve has the best truck in sounds, and well, actually, between Flo and Steve, probably one of the two. Taking the
Steve's
best.
probably first. I'm
Chuck's-
curious where me and
Chuck's
Wizard
token
stand.
honky. Wizard is, I mean, you can't even describe Wizard.
You cannot describe Wizard. That is accurate.
There's some interesting characters. People are interesting characters. There's a mystery behind everyone. What was it that created this person into being this way? Well,
Abandonment.
Dude.
Childhood abandonment. Maybe.
Absolutely.
Nobody grew up having it easy.
Why
We
do you
all
think
had
I
to
went
struggle.
around? Yeah, why do you think I always went around? I tell you all the time. I went around, and I'm not shitting you. I would tell them, "Fuck you. You ain't my daddy." I knew better. All
I
adults
wasn't
in my little
necessarily
child eyes.
speaking to you. I was just seeing where the shoe fit, and you dove into that motherfucker.
Well, yeah, because listen, folks, even as a child, I understood that the adults that were supposed to be guiding me in life were actually fucking lying.
Can you forgive them?
Absolutely. The problem is that they are still lying, and you can point out the lie, and they will defend it. Like I said earlier, we're all adults, people.
Hey, I just, not to distract, but actually kind of inspired by what you said. Oh, the trauma, abandonment. This guy here, Dr. Gabor Mate.
He's dope.
He is incredible. And honestly, he's a voice that I would love to try and get in front of the citizens of Congress. To help them. Well, seriously, we've got the facts. We've got the evidence. We've got
What is it that you want him to communicate on your behalf?
The way that childhood trauma is developed and carried into the adulthoods, because trauma is, I can connect the dots and present the case that the trauma that's being carried is, it's been designed, it's in the systems of the society. And what
Are you
keeps
trying to teach them how to traumatize us better?
No, I'd like to open their eyes so that they can see the damage of dysfunction that has been developed.
Oh, we've been hurting them with all this harm.
Before we even get to that, to like what we're going to be doing, we have to figure out how we're going to get this guy to talk to us, and it's probably going to take like 10 grand just to get through the door. If you want to be honest, like this guy is going to want money.
Actually, I disagree. I don't remember if it was him. I reached out to him, Greg Braden. He does a lot of stuff on psychology, and he's written books about his studies into the different religions. And so the idea was to get some of these experts on consciousness in front of, help educate the people who are actually making decisions for the government, because they're insane. They don't know it. They've got unhealed trauma, just like the majority of the population, I would assume.
Jack, you're not in any position to be calling other people insane.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing.
Because at the same time, I'm perfectly poised to present the case that.
Oh, I see. Because you're insane, you recognize your own.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Nice. Just get it. Point to you.
Wow, I should have been screen capturing that. Jesus.
You can always go back.
It's there. That's the amazing part of this journey that I'm having. here,
Bro, you
Gen X.
can't admit to being insane. Like, that's not a good thing, Jack.
No, he wants Congress to fix our trauma, which also is not their job.
I mean, we're all a
Well,
little crazy.
here's the thing. What happens with trauma? The only way people continue lifelong suffering with trauma from the past is, well, God's grace, first of all. God's grace has not been found and known by that person to bring forth the healing. But many of the psychological and emotional traumas that people are carrying are mainstream mental health professionals. They've got big books and all these labels and diagnoses, but they don't understand. Trauma and suffering, it's enabled. Problems, once they become known, if we don't face the problems, if we don't face the evil, we're enabling it. So I don't want to run away from the evil that I see in the structures of corporate and government. And it's not just America, it's all around the world. But I truly trust and believe that America can still become the true leader of freedom. And it'll start within the home. It starts within all of us. See,
True.
this is.
I'm with you, Jack. But you've seen Batman, right?
Mm-hmm. Some of them.
All right. Well, Joker never saves the day, but there's oftentimes he does good things. You know what I mean? You're not
As do the
Batman,
devils.
so I'm not trying to diminish what you're capable of, but I'm like, I'm trying to be realistic here. Like, your role is different, especially if you're going to claim insanity. Then you're definitely the Joker.
Instead of healing everyone's trauma, can we give Moose more trauma?
I mean, you guys have already made me
Just a
cry.
little bit.
He's
You guys have
healing.
given me sleepless nights.
No, but I know that's what I want to reverse.
Like, I went through all kinds of
I'm trying to stop him from healing.
devastating humor, and then like, I mean, I went through a whole bunch of trauma
Moose, I ain't gay, but
because-
I'm gonna fuck you just to re-traumatize you.
Yeah, no, I that's not happening. Thank you.
That's fucking gross.
Sorry if your son was listening.
I actually think Moose is on the path of healing. He's already taken steps to grow in his own personal development, and as a dad, that's responsible. That's admirable. And I think Moose is going to do.
Normal.
I've never
What are you
forgot about
congratulating
that.
For? That's what fucking dads do. I mean, you should be congratulated for it.
Not every dad does.
Fuck you, Moose. Typical job, doing a good job. There you go.
Yeah, doing what's expected of you.
I don't need a fucking thank you. Like, my wife was like, "What do you want for Father's Day?" I said, "I just want to hang out with you bitches." I didn't
Absolutely
say bitches,
nothing. I want to fire up the barbecue and drink some beer.
Moose lives by this cheesecake place that I've never forgotten about. It looks so far.
Momo's cheesecake. Oh yeah, I could ride the bike up there.
That's what you want for Father's Day.
That's what I want for Father's Day.
That's what I want for Father's Day. I've never even had it.
Cheesecake, is that what you said?
Yeah, he came on stream one time with this fucking fire ass looking piece of cheesecake and just like ate it in front of us.
We're getting distracted, Jack. I'm sorry, but all right. So I'll be real quick. This cheesecake place, you guys don't understand it. When the whole like Ruba Jabba Jabba thing happened, this lady lost her job as a bartender, and she was already baking these. She was already baking this cheesecake, and she was selling it to the local restaurants. And so when she lost her job bartending, she decided that she was gonna put all her money and faith and stuff and dedication into the business. And now she has a full-on bakery, and she does cheesecakes, carrot cakes, all kinds of stuff. But Jack, this is where it becomes amazing. It's not just that. It makes you have like faith in humanity again, because when you walk in, there's nobody there to talk to. There's nobody there to tell you what to do. There's prices. There's a box. You put your money in a box and you walk out. That's what makes it amazing. I mean, the flavors and all that stuff.
It's not really a scalable business model.
No, but that's amazing. A business with trust and honor, offering forth their goods, their services, asking only for trust and honor. That's pretty amazing. We can build a society that way. I truly believe a day can come where, due to the focus, see, in business and government, there's been a lot of focus and on improving in efficiency. America has done incredible steps towards efficiency and productivity. So let's combine our talents and work together. We could create a nation and a world where goods and services were produced and shared at the absolute lowest exchange cost in whatever form that might be, whether it's labor, whether it's a form of currency, whether it's something. But I envision a world where we could literally create free markets where the goods and services, the crops are grown and we work together to share the transportation and, you know, take the stuff that's not, well, and oh my God, there are so many ways this world can improve, from the chemicals in the food to the water to the pollutants. We can change what it means to be a human.
I think we got to
Wait a
put in the
second.
work to change.
What are we?
No one really
wait,
wants to put in the
Yeah.
work to change yet.
And I don't really want
Shit,
to
Steve.
stop being human.
I want to improve what it means. I want it, I guess I felt a lot of pride in a lot of different things. And I honestly, genuinely, I want to feel pride in being a human, in being a man here in America. But seeing what America is doing to other men, women, and children around the world.
Well, question, Jack. Question. Do you feel that you're that man yet? Do you feel you're there yet? Like, I mean, because that's where it comes back to. Like this, we want to see these things, right? We have these visions of grandeur. We have like these dreams, and the thing is nobody else can make that happen. Nobody can see what you see in your mind. Nobody can, like, nobody here. Like, we've been here for 2 years. All right, we've been here for 2 years with you, and a lot of us, we're like friends, but we're still not 100% on board, right? I just think that when you become the person that you're supposed to be, you won't even worry about the rest of the world, because you'll be there, and the world will change around you.
I realize that. Let me answer the question I heard, that am I the man I want to be? I thought I was already in the past. And my time here online, it's shown me areas that I have grown in, I've improved in, and I continue to grow and improve. So what I've come to realize, God will determine, time will determine when I'm prepared enough. But I shared this with the missionaries, and I shared this with another conversation I had offline. I'm inviting people to join me in my life here on earth at this time. I keep getting invited to join the lives of other people to be more like what they say I should be or do. But I'm inviting anyone who wants to join with me today. At least let's start with the belief that we're here to create a better world. If you can believe we're here to create a better world and to bring forth change in very good ways, please reach out to me. I'm genuine. I would really love someone to try and help me share a message to my best friend, Sean, to remind him that I love him and I do wish him a very happy birthday. I think if I ask for nothing and I offer love, maybe it could help.
Maybe people want respect instead of love.
What are they respecting?
What are they respecting?
Mm-hmm.
But what
The
what are they
question was
respecting?
non sequitur.
Okay, so
well,
I'm gonna
what
no,
am
wait, hold on. Before you go, I'm gonna answer that question for you because what other people are respecting is what you've created, right?
no,
Who you are. If you
that's not
when
true.
you get to the point where you are who you're supposed to be, and
Yeah.
people will respect you for you, Jack.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask this, because back to the topic, um, I'm offering love, and you're saying they want respect. And
Correct.
the implication is you want me to respect their wishes to avoid me, despite their reasons, despite all of the facts that I know. You suggest that
Nobody needs
offering
to
love,
justify not wanting to engage in any sort of a relationship.
well, so you say is
No, so it is. You can't force nobody's obligated to be anything to anybody else.
you're right, Flo, you're right. People can live their entire lives in denial, angry at what they think of the past, focused on the injustices. That's what my ex-wife is doing. That's what my son is probably doing. I don't know, but I'd love to find someone in Spokane who might be willing to help me. I've tried churches, I've tried pastors, I've tried attorneys, I've tried government, I've tried nonprofits, I've tried the
Everything
VA.
except for respect.
How do you think I've failed to offer respect? It's been 6 years.
Yeah, and how long have you respected anybody's wishes for?
Okay, well let's bring this around. If everyone's wishes are to be respected, what about me and mine?
What about them?
Why don't you care to respect my wishes?
If you didn't want to be friends with somebody, I would respect your right to not have to be friends with them, regardless of whether or not you had a reason that person deemed good enough.
All right, well, let's not exaggerate what I'm asking for. I'm not asking for a friendship. I'm asking for a conversation. Simple
Well,
as that.
You're still not owed one.
Well,
Just
I'm
as
not
you wouldn't
asking.
owe anybody one who you don't
Hello.
want to talk to. What?
I'm not asking for what you think I'm owed.
You're
I'm
asking for me to
telling you,
do something. You want people who will just get involved in your business affairs or in your personal
absolutely.
affairs without asking any questions or giving you feedback.
Well, that's untrue. See, you've already concluded that I'm wrong, and you've not really asked any questions. Both you and Chuck, you and Margot and many others chose to play this game with me.
It's not a game.
So, tell you what.
I'm not playing a game.
I'm not here to argue. Let's come back to the topic. We unite through focus. We divide by distraction. The distractions are usually what we're not, right? I'm not. Well, what are you?
You're disrespectful.
So that's your conclusion based upon
What? My
Well,
2 years of observations?
try
Don't you
this.
think that we?
and the relevance you bring this. Okay, so you formed the opinion I'm disrespectful based on your personal experience of me over the past 2 years. Is that what I'm facing? Is that the accurate?
Personally, an observation. Yeah,
Have you
absolutely.
not have you not been over the last 2 years? Have I not been at times? Has he not been at times? Okay.
Sure, we all
I
have
mean,
been.
let's all level the field here.
Both
Like
Jack
it's
and I are
not
being that
it's
right
not
now.
everybody on Jack. Like we've all fallen short. It's all it is about taking accountability, Jack. Everybody's got to take accountability for their own shit.
That's what I'm trying to get you and Flo and Chuck to do. But you can
Wait, I don't know what you're
continue.
talking about. I'm still.
Hold on.
I'm
What do I
good.
need to take accountability for?
You're part of your opinions.
For my opinions?
Yes, you've
I have to be
convicted
accountable
me.
for my opinions.
Flow state. Yes, you have a responsibility for the things that you say into the world. Is that not
What
true?
opinion am I responsible to you for having
The
or
ones
obligated
related,
to have?
the ones related to me and elsewhere, you have a responsibility for the words you offer to the world. Now,
Absolutely.
today, you've presented accusations against me as though you've concluded, and you showed through your words, your actions in the past 2 years, you showed that you found me to be deceitful,
Disrespectful. Yeah.
vindictive, and now today you're bringing in disrespectful as well. Now, none of those things have you allowed yourself to even consider. You might not be right.
But he did admit, and you agreed, that everybody's disrespectful. Everybody's same way.
Especially in
Everybody
these
gets
metaverses.
That's what Moose said.
and that's not
Hello.
that's
It
and that's
doesn't
not,
excuse.
that's not an opinion. That is an objective reality, Jack. Just
Right. It does not excuse. We must be accurate with each other. And sitting here today on June
Nobody's
5th,
excusing anybody.
Flow State just sat here.
Yeah, I
as
just
his
accused him pretty point
excuse.
blank.
Right. Moose, see, you are in denial and you don't pay attention
He
to
might
what's
not have
going on.
heard it.
yeah,
Whoa,
and it
dude.
goes back to what I
No
said
reason.
earlier. And it goes back to what I said earlier. When we come out making accusations about fault and stuff, that's where we start pointing and we realize, hey, three fingers point. We're all disrespectful. We all go through vindictiveness. We all do that stuff. So it's not necessarily just an accusation. You know, it's a detriment to ourselves to even be having discussions in that manner when we have more positive aspects we can come at something from.
I don't agree with anything Wizard just said. I appreciate the attempt.
I agree.
It was a good attempt.
Just like an architect must go through his plans and see what might be a problem and address those. I agree with that. But the intent of an architect is to do better. That's it.
I mean, are we all not doing better than we were? I think everybody's leveled up.
Well, that is what I'm hoping to get others to see, is that I have done actually quite a bit of work to improve myself. And the patterns of denial, Flow State, you showed what you opine, what you've decided is the relationship between you and me. I've been trying
me thinking that you're disrespectful is not the defining feature of our relation, unless you make it that, which I noticed that you're keeping track of injustices and slights that I've made towards you over the years, which is petty.
Is it petty or accurate?
It's petty. It could be both.
Here, you want to present the cases against me, but you're not accepting any of.
You haven't asked why I felt to like making that statement this time.
Yeah,
or why I've made the other ones last time. There's a common theme running through all of them.
It's you. And you refuse to accept responsibility for you, Flow State. You have been wrong about me. Moose, thank you for participating. Your interruptions, though, I've asked you before. And Flow State, I put you in the back because you're still repeating your patterns of denial. You don't want to respect me for some reason. You get to choose what you see. You get to choose what you think from what you see. Flow State, you sat next to me for a long time, and I could tell you were not listening to the monologues and the things that I was saying. And I used to entertain it, and I used to be very patient and trying to figure out, what do I do? Well, it appears I listened to the feedback, right? And the feedback that was common from the viewers is clean up this nonsense, Jack.
He wasn't being disrespectful this time. He seemed rather calm to me. He wasn't screaming or yelling.
Mhm.
I've had him
Was he
scream and yell at me before,
great?
but I deserved
Let's
it.
come back. Okay, great. I understand that, and I've yelled and screamed at you before, and it's irrelevant. Chuck, in your honest opinion, did you see him trying to understand me or trying to get me to understand him and his conviction?
Now, wait a minute. I missed part of it because my phone overheated, but there at the end, he was trying to understand what the sticking point was between you and him.
Okay, but I kept trying to get him to see him, just like I've been trying to get you to see you, Chuck. So here, actually, this is part of an inspiration I had, and maybe I should wrap up on my own. The inspiration I had, and I touched on this earlier, we are all reflections of one another. There's only the differences between us that we choose to find, just as there are the similarities we can choose to find. Now, for whatever reason, I mean, flow state is a father. For someone to have such callousness in their heart towards a father is quite interesting.
It wasn't callousness.
Really?
It was
You
it was
don't,
what it is what it looked like to him at the time. It wasn't callousness.
was he open-minded or closed-minded, Chuck?
I don't know. You'll have to ask him. I can't answer his questions.
Are you open-minded or closed-minded, Chuck, in your
I try to
opinion?
be I try to be very open minded so that I can continue to grow. Because if I
Have you been
slam that door
open-minded with,
shut
do you feel you've been open-minded with me, Chuck?
in the beginning, yes.
In the
But then
beginning,
we had
how long ago was that, Chuck?
I don't know what was it, a year and a half ago.
Okay, and so what
But
closed you off from being open-minded with me? What
I was
closed you
still
off and
open.
convinced you to be an opposer of me, an accuser of me? What convinced you to play that role in my life, Chuck?
Because I felt you were on a trying to achieve a greater existence in life as opposed to dealing with the life that you have around you at the moment.
So
Just an
you formed a
observation.
judgment. You formed a
No,
judgment.
I am not judging.
Thank you, Chuck. Hey, welcome. Easy. How you doing, brother? You are a patient man too. I respect you.
How's it going?
I was actually about to wrap up. I think we had a decent stream, but you know what? I've got Flow State and Chuck in Tennessee in the back now. I did that because I didn't feel like our conversations were going anywhere.
Okay.
You have a way of helping, it seems.
A way of what, sorry?
You have a way of understanding, and I've seen you bring mediation, interpretation to conversations. I've seen you do that.
Yeah, I actually was gonna give an observation of what I was listening to because I was just popping around looking for panels and I came across yours and I heard the conversation. And I have an observation. You might take it in a wrong way, but I find with a lot of the people that are connected with you guys, like I find it with that Paul dude, Flow State does it. There's another guy that's connected to Flow. I forget his fucking name now. But my point is, I find that there's a lot of ego going on, and like instead of actually like any productive conversations happening, this happens a lot where they like just get like muted or put in the back, and instead of like actually hearing each other out, it tends to turn into this like trying to get a gotcha on each other. And it's and like in the debate space, this happens a lot. You call them the debate bros, the ones who are like always trying to like get these little buzzwords in and bullshit in when they suck at it, right? But like in what I see going on is like it seems like because I've really held myself with a way with my panel to like let people do this to me, because you'll let people show themselves when they do that, right? Like especially like Flo, he's a really like power hungry dude, and like he does a lot of the shit he says other people do, and like if you just let him talk, he shows himself.
Something happened to your audio, dude. We can't hear you. I'm not sure what happened. Or is it just me? Can you hear him, Wizard? Or did he drop out for you too?
Yeah, he muted.
Not sure what happened. It might have been a connection. I heard a little zzz. So
Yeah, his mic is muted.
yeah. Here, while he's working, go ahead, Keith.
But yeah, I see that myself as well, and that's why I say, and this is a perfect example between me and you, Jack. We used to butt heads like a motherfucker. That was our ego. I can't say I'm done with the ego, because it's just like being an asshole. Sometimes you gotta be, but it is a matter of balancing that. That's all I'm saying.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, you are back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
everything cut out for me for a second. I might end up having an issue with the storm. I might end up having an issue with my connection. But yeah, I was just gonna.
Yeah, you're breaking up. It's in and out.
Oh, for real?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're already
All right,
losing
bro.
him.
All right, I'm gonna fix this. I'll talk to you another time.
Another time. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate you. And what you were saying, I've seen it. You do, if you can hang out just a minute, or hear whatever. If either way, you can tune in. But
Well, Jack, I'm out. Be blessed. Know I love you. I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back. You guys know the rest. We'll let you close out. Have a good one.
blessings. Thank you, brother. What you were offering, yeah, for those who don't know of Speakeasy, feel free to, or did I take your mod away? I might have taken your mod away, but Speakeasy's got a channel. He's got panels, and he does some fun things. And I've noticed, I've watched, and I pay attention to people, and you do have a method of communication. You have a patience to you, and a self-control that I've seen and witnessed. Flo does too, but he's very, what you said, that's what our egos do. If you allow people to show themselves, they will. Now,
Right.
getting them to accept responsibility for themselves, that's the challenge. But hey, thank you for popping through, brother.
Thanks for having me, man. I'll talk to you again soon.
Respect. Thank you for joining. There was, here, sometimes I just don't know what is best. I do respect Flow State. For those who are interested, he does panels and conversations. He's got a lot of wisdom and intelligence in him. I encourage you to check him out. I received this. Flow State and Chuck are still in the back. Well, Chuck left. I think maybe I should just wrap up. Well, let me not be rude. Let me check in and see where Flow State is at. Are you there?
I'm here. What is it that you want to know from my perspective?
I don't know. I don't understand the accusations and the distrust against me. I really don't. Not from you.
Is that a question? Or are you asking me to explain?
If you're willing to explain your distrust and your reason to be against me, I'd love to better understand.
You are disrespectful when you disregard other people's requests because you unilaterally decide that they're stupid or unverified or whatever. You confuse disrespect for love.
I think that might be you.
No,
but
I know when I'm
here,
disrespecting
all right.
people.
Yep. Well, we choose when we offer and we choose what we share. So you choose to share disrespect towards me because you found me to be disrespectful in your opinions. It's the way the ego does. And here's what I know. We are all reflections of each other. You don't have to find the bad flaws in me. I can
My
find the
ego isn't tied up in me observing your interactions with people you used to know.
I know. Your heart is
I
closed.
have no dog in that fight.
I know. You've chosen that position. You've chosen to place yourself separated from me and different than me. That way you can keep your old opinions. I know what you're doing. You're resistant to allowing your mind to change. You have patterns of denial.
No, I'm right.
Okay. Keep believing you're right.
You're resistant.
Okay. We'll find out which is true.
We already know.
Well,
You've already been told.
You think you know many things, Flow State.
Are you respecting your friend's request?
I'm respecting the truth. So here, what I'm actually, you keep going back to my friend's request as though you've heard their requests.
You told it to me.
No. Well, okay, so
take your word for it.
All right, but once again, you'll selectively take my word for things against me, but when I offer my defense, you want to deny and say, nope, that's not enough. That's not good enough. So here, rather than see disrespect in me, actually, I'm just trying to ask, what is the reason? Simple as that. If they,
you know what, I can sympathize with your desire for that resolution or closure, or whatever you want to call it, whatever word you want to throw on it. But at some point, I feel like if I'm sitting someplace while somebody is saying something that is untrue, at some point, I become a participant in the lie.
You're doing that without your awareness because you don't actually know what you've been doing in my life. You don't know the consequences that I have experienced.
Well, what are they?
And you also don't know my experience that brought me to where you got to meet me. You don't know what I've been through. You've heard some of my stories.
None of that stuff is really relevant for the paradigm that you've explained to me.
Well, what is relevant, I'm sorry to interrupt. What is relevant, though, Flow State, is how we treat each other. And your opinions of what you think I'm trying to do don't justify the way you've disrespected me.
I'm not making interpretations of your intentions. I'm pointing out your reaction. Your response to a request is disrespectful.
Yep. And your refusal to cooperate is disrespectful. So, Flow State, I love you. I'm going to chalk it up for another day. Maybe we'll find ways to communicate in the future.
All righty.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. And Chuck, I'm not going to bring you up again. Thank you. Brothers and sisters and Brandon Looney Tunes, thank you, but I'm not bringing you up at this time either. Brothers and sisters, thank you to all who joined, whether it's in the live stream or in the future, and whatever platform you found. What I hope you can find, at least in the beginning, I was really starting with these ideas of helpful information. So let's wrap that up again. The idea for today is to remind us all of the benefits of unity, uniting together. uniting together for teamwork, for collaboration, for cooperation, for a greater purpose than just the individual one. But in order to have any relationship here, while we're here on earth as a man or woman, to have any healthy relationship, you must become whole within you. Otherwise, it's just codependency and enabling of childhood trauma. We talked about a lot of this stuff today. And the world we live in, the darkness is because people have focused their mind and attention on the problems, the things they don't like, the things they can't, the things they are not. Let's humble ourselves and accept the truth. The truth is we are life that is happening right now. And there is a Father in heaven. There's angels around. There's spirits of ancestors. There are so much intelligence. There are so many answers to be found, but a mind that's closed is done. A mind that is afraid, a mind that's confused, it's not going to understand. The only way we can learn is when we take control within us, when we receive and accept our own self-control, and then we direct ourselves to become humble, curious, patient, kind, loving, all of the good things that we want. Because when we share kindness, we feel kindness. When you share anger and hate, guess what you're feeling? It's only you. It's only me. We are the ones who are here today. And it's up to you. It's up to me. The savior of your life is you. The savior of mine was me. I want to bring forth the healing, and by God's grace, we'll all move forward into a more beautiful future. I'm going to wrap up here. Brothers and sisters, sincerely again, thank you. Choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless us all. Doggone it, I did it again.